Welcome to part 4 of Blender 4.5 version. In this video, we'll deep dive into the lighting. You already know about the rendering and the render engines in the Blender, and we are ready to work with lighting. You can access to all chapters and the other parts from the playlist here, and also the link is in the description. Here we have a scene. I didn't want to work with a simple scene with just a cube and primitive shapes. Here, this is my scene, and alright. I don't have any light in the scene. Let's see, press the Z key, go to the render mode. As you can see, I don't have any light. This one you can see is the emissive material. I'll explain it in the material design section later. This is not light. Actually, this is a fake light, and we don't have any light in the scene. Let me explain something. I don't want this grid and I can't see my scene clearly because of this. I can't disable it using the button here, but if I press this, all of the UIs in the scene will be separate, and I need to press this button and disable the floor. Floor is a grid in the scene. Also, I can remove these lines, these axes, using these two buttons. I can enable the X, Y, Z axes, and I can disable them. Also, I can disable other UIs in the scene. I'll explain this section later in detail, but for instance, let's enable this. As you can see, the points and the vertices of every object now is visible. And you can work with the UI and the Blender viewport elements here. I will upload every chapter of the course every week, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification to know about the new chapters and new tutorials. Right now, let's work with the lights. Press Shift A, and in the light menu, first let's add a point light. Point light is look like a bulb, and you can see the range of its brightness is everywhere, and it's a light broadcaster, light emitter, and we don't have any range or shape for the light. Moving it will affect on the lighting, but rotating it, press Shift space and rotate, doesn't affect anything, or scaling it either. And we can move it and wherever we need, for example here or here. I'm using Eevee engine, and this scene is real time. Alright, now I can navigate to the light attribute, this menu, and these sections are the attributes in the Blender, not just related to the selected object. For example, here it's general rendering settings and not related to the object. But here this is the object. For example, if I select this, I don't have any light icon here because this is not light, it's the floor. I need to go to the light section, and here we have the properties and attributes of the light, selected light. The first one is the temperature, and I can make the light warmer or cooler. Here, let's increase it and see the effect of the light here. As you can see, it's colder, and if I decrease it, as you can see, now it's warmer. Also, I can change the tint and change every color I want, but it's different from this option. If I disable this, instead of tint, I have a color attribute, and I can directly change the color, and I can't affect the color by temperature as well. Here we have a tint, and also I can multiply the temperature by the tint. Let's use the temperature and decrease this value. Here this color is good. Here I have the power and I need to increase it. Okay, and here I need to decrease the temperature a little. Okay, good. Also, I can increase the exposure. Exposure is a value that multiplies by the power and increases the power. I don't need to increase it for now. Also, the normalize will add a range to the light. For example, if I deselected, as you can see, my light doesn't have any smooth range, and actually it's not pretty for this scene. And normalize can limit the range of the light and make it smooth. Alright, radius is the most important part because balancing it can make the scene more realistic. Let's see this shadow. As you can see, this shadow is too hard and not good. I can make it softer using the radius and make sure the soft fall off is activated. Let's increase the radius, and as you can see, the shadow is so smooth. And let's back to the 0 value, and now as you can see, this value is more realistic. Let's see here and compare it with the real world. Real world lighting is not look like this result. This is better and more near to the real world. Right here, this value works. Right here we have the shadow options. I will talk about the jitter. Actually, all of the attributes here related to a capability called jitter. It's related to the advanced lighting, and I will talk about it later. Lighting techniques, for example, jitter and other advanced techniques need a separate video, and I'll talk about it later. Alright, the rest of the attributes are not as important as the others, and I will ignore it. Let's increase the temperature. Right, good. And now let's duplicate the light. We can press the Shift D to duplicate the light, or we can press the Alt D. But Alt D, as you can see, we have another light. But if I change the attributes of this light will be changed as well. And they are related to each other. But using the Shift D, we have two independent lights. Here, this is the light, and Shift D here is the other one. Okay, let's add the second light, the sunlight, and its position is not important because sun is everywhere. This light is dependent on direction. Here, as you can see, direction of the sun is button, and this line, this yellow line, means button. We can press the Shift space and rotate the sun. I will do it in an exterior scene as well later, but now we have the scene and I need to work on it. And as you can see, the sun direction is changing, and we can see the direction using this yellow line. In the light section and the light attributes, I can modify the properties. Here we have the temperature, just like these lights. Here, select the temperature and decrease it. Sunlight is warm. Alright, now let's I don't want to change the tint. Here let's increase the strength. Its strength is equal to the power, just like point lights, and this is good. Alright, here we can increase the exposure. As I said, exposure is a multiplier that will multiplies by the strength. And as you can see, the house environment is getting brighter. Not just the areas we have the direct light, here we have brightness. It is indirect lighting, and I will talk about later. It's an advanced property in the Blender, and we have the normalize just like the point light. Alright, using angle we can make the shadows smoother, just like radius in point lights. Here, if I increase the angle, as you can see, we have a softer shadow. And if I decrease it, let's get closer. As you can see, we have a very hard shadow. The higher value is better for a rainy weather, or if we have fog or mist in the scene, a higher value is better. But if the weather is sunny and there are no clouds in the sky, low value works. And in the shadow we have the jitter option, and as I said, I will explain it later. Alright, this is sunlight, and we will keep it, and let's introduce the next light, the spotlight. Spotlight is look like a flashlight or projector. Here let's move it here using the G key, and as you can see, it's just like a cone mesh, and it has a range. It's the range of it, and we can rotate it, move it, and we can scale it using the S key to increase the range. And based on its shape, the light will start in a small range and it will increase. Right, let's scale it down. We can change the range using the light attributes as well, not only the S key. Right here. Here we have the temperature, color. For this light, let's change the color and don't use the temperature. For example, this color, and we need to increase the power. As you can see, we have a light effect here, and the power is too high. Let's increase the exposure instead of it. Alright, this is very good. Let's rotate it and see what happens. And if I press S to scale it up, we don't have any changes because our environment is small and this size is sufficient. You already know about the normalize. Radius is related to the soft shadows, and here we can increase it, and you know about it. But here we have the beam shape. Beam shape is related to this cone shape, and here with the size we can increase the max size, maximum size, and the bottom of the cone shape. And also blend will smooth this circle, and here higher values give you a smoother circle effect. And using this button you can see the cone shape and its effect on the scene. Alright, this is the spotlight, and it is good for projectors, for flashlights, and so on. Right, let's move it and work with the last light. Press Shift A and light, and here we have the area light. Area light is kind of look like the spotlight, and instead of a cone shape we have a square shape, and it will support a square area. This light is very useful for representation and lighting a character or a object that we want to focus on that object specifically, not an environment. But some lights are look like this shape. Here, as you can see, the direction of the light this button and we can rotate it, we can scale it, and here we can change its attribute in the light settings. We have the temperature just like before. The white color is good, or let's select a green color, it's better. And as you can see, we have a tiny effect, and we can increase it by increasing the power. Area light will affect on this range, not up. And here we can increase the exposure, and as you can see it says square. And also we can change the entire shape. It's square, we can change it to rectangle. With this shape we can change the X size, X direction and Y direction separately, but square just has size, and both the X and Y will increase with each other. Also we can change the shape to disc. It's a circle, and we have the size just like square, or we can select the ellipse. Ellipse is a disc, but we can change the X and Y separately. Area light is a simple light, and it's useful for representing a model. But we have something here. If we want to make the shadows smoother in this light, we had the radius for the point light and the spotlight, we had angle for the sunlight, but for the area light we need to increase its size using the S key or using this attribute, and by increasing its size its shadow gets smoother. Alright, these are the physical lights. Physical lights means it will work with algorithms and some complicated calculations written by Blender, and they are so heavy to compute. But we have another light in Blender. Let's delete these lights or disable this icon, and now we can't see them. We have another lighting system called HDR. It's not physical, it doesn't have a complicated calculation. It will use a texture or an image to provide lighting. So how to use it? We need to extend a window, or also we can add a new window in Blender. Just place your cursor in a corner of one of the windows, and here when you have a plus button, plus like button, you need to left click and drag, and now we have another window, or right click and close the window using the close area. Here in this window I need to press this button and change the environment. I need to go to the shader editor. I didn't explain it, but I just want to work with HDR for now. You need to go from object to world. I will explain the shader editor in detail later. Here we have two nodes. Blender is node based. For example, if you want to create the materials, post effects, composite your final render, lighting, and other works, you need to use nodes. Nodes are some attributes that provide a value to you, and you need to connect it to the result. Each node has a single input or several inputs and one or several outputs, and do some calculations for you. I'll explain it in detail later. Here we have two nodes. The first one is the environment lighting, and the second one is the environment result. Here, this one, we can move it and connect it, and the background means the scene color, connected to the surface. Surface is the lighting result. If I press the control and right click and disconnect this connection, as you can see, we don't have any scene lighting here. As you can see, the previous one provides basic color, but here we don't have any color. Here we can change the scene color, for example a yellow color, and here it will make it shine, and here we can increase the strength. And as you can see, we have a global lighting, and it's not heavy to compute. But instead of a yellow color, I wanna connect texture or an image to the color input. We can connect anything to the inputs, or we can change them by the field. But for the color, if we want to connect texture, we can't assign the texture with this field. Alright, we need another node that we can press Shift A to add a node. We have a lot of nodes that each one provides a specific attribute and property. Here we need to go to the texture menu and add the environment texture. And here we need to press the open button to open a texture. Alright, here I have a lot of HDRI textures. They are, as I said, 360 images. And you can download many HDRIs from polyhaven.com. All of the HDRIs here I have. For example, these are my 8K HDRIs. I've downloaded from this website. They are free and you can download many environments you want. Based on the image you will select, the lighting and the environment's color will be changed. And you need to use an image based on your needs. For example, if your environment is a kind of jungle, you can select this HDRI or this. If your environment is a kind of desert, you can select this. Let's select, for example, this. I need to say sorry about the double HDRI. I have a small issue on my PC. Excuse me for it. Alright, select this. The file type is EXR or HDR. Alright, now here we have the texture and we need to connect the color output to the color input of the background node. And as you can see, we have the environment here, and here we need to increase the strength. We can test other environments, see the best one. Alright, this is very good. And as you can see, we have a global lighting. For the final touch, I want to rotate and move the HDRI. It's related to texture coordinate and texture movement. I will explain later in detail, but let's add the texture coordinate and work with the simple attributes, not advanced attributes. You need to select your texture node and press the Ctrl T. If Ctrl T doesn't work on your Blender, you need to go to the edit menu and preferences, and you need to go to the add-ons and search for the node Wrangler and activate it. Here we have a texture coordinate node, and I will explain it in detail later, but I need to say if you want to rotate the HDRI and change the light direction, you need to rotate the Z field, and as you can see, the light direction is changing. Right now, let's modify the strength, and here this is very good. Alright, in the next section we will start modeling and some advanced transformation.